welcome to What's That All About? um, Again, I'm doing a little bit of a different thing today. This is actually a very personal story because it's true and it happened to me, and it is about the Ouija board. And I warn you that I may struggle with this a little bit because it's the first time I'm actually talking about it in probably close to 30 years. So, what I'm about to tell you is terrifying. And I laugh out of nerves, but I feel like it's an important story to tell now because maybe after I'm done, I can just move on from it and never have to think about it. Yeah, right. But I'll try. One thing I want to mention that I know I've told you before is, I don't lie. I don't have any need to elaborate, exaggerate, indulge this story any more than it is as is, because it's the facts are enough to jar you. I mean, they're if you can really put yourself back into an 18-year-old mindset, the innocence, the naivete, you may be able to understand why the fear I still have at almost 48 years old. But I've added nothing for dramatic effect, only my nerves that I'm actually already all tense and tightened up. Everything's a little uncomfortable. But 1993 was the summer before heading off to college. I was going to be roommates with my best friend at the time in high school. It was Jamie. And for some reason, now there were a bunch of parties going on. It was towards the end of the summer, but not quite the end of the summer. And these were just, we were just having fun. Boons, strawberry wine. I mean, wine coolers. This is back when I even think Zima was around them, but I don't know. Anyway, we weren't drunk. We were just being silly. But we decided to start touring our buddy's house for some reason, who was having the party, which is something we never did. We weren't like that. We were kind of the social ones that sort of were in the middle of everything all the time. I still cannot remember what made us think let's go look around. Let's go rifling through our buddy's shit. Like we had any right to do it. I mean, he's a really laid back guy. He probably wouldn't have actually, I know he didn't care, but still, what were we doing? It was something we had never done before. Anyway, I don't even know what we were looking at, what we thought we'd find. He had some cool stuff in his room, though. I think he had trophies, if I remember correctly. But anyway, Jamie was on the other side of the room. I was in the closet. First of all, it always fascinated me to look inside a teenage boy's closet, even though I was a teenager at the time too. But I always got a kick because I'm OCD, so I always had things kind of hung up, and don't make fun of me, but they're color coordinated too. But anyway, this kid did not. And he had semi, dirty, semi-clean clothes all on the floor instead of on, and all these perfectly good hangers, but nothing hung kind of thing. And as I'm looking in there, I see the corner of a Ouija board. Now, the thing was with the little cursor thing, Jamie and I called it the cursor. Probably a bad choice to use, but we didn't know the name of it. So I pulled it out and I put it on the bed, and Jamie kind of looked at me like, where'd you get that? And I said, it was in his closet, but it was buried. That should have been number one warning, red flag. I should have just left it where it was. I didn't. I pulled it out, being the little curious shit that I am. So we stared at it for a minute in silence, kind of just taking it in, and I think I asked her, have you ever done this before? And now we had been friends for years, since we were little, so I knew that she hadn't, because she probably would have done it with me. But she says, no, I have no idea. And I said, okay. Well, we had watched like The Exorcist, in the past. So we had seen one used before, but had never done it ourselves. Okay. So we sat down on either side of it, facing one another. And I put the cursor in the middle. And we both, we're trying to remember exactly what we saw and how other people have done it or whatever, like in movies. Exorcist wasn't the only one. But anyway, we did the like light, your fingertips. I think we remembered to use like the 3 fingertips in the middle here or something. But that's what we were doing. And I don't remember, like who said what, when really, but I do know that there's 2 questions that I know that Jamie asked, and there's one I know I said, is anybody with us? Nothing happened, and we kind of, okay, it's okay. That's all right. It's just the first question. Let's, keep going. And then Jamie asked does anyone want to talk to us? And again, nothing happened. And now we sat there for another moment or two, and we were just about to pull our hands away. And it was almost like a energy kept them there, and the cursor thing pushed forward really kind of quickly, short. But I looked at her, she looked at me, we both jumped up, staring at it. And we did the whole, did you do that? Swear to God, you didn't do that. And we're swearing on everything, as a teenager would, right? It's like anything stupid that you could, like, I swear on my mother's life, and I swear on this, I swear on that. So when we were satisfied that neither one of us had done it, and I mean, we had been friends for, most of our lives. So of course we weren't lying to each other. I don't know why I thought we would have started then. But anyway, we sat back down. And I'm starting to shake. I don't know if you can see my hands, but I'm actually starting to shake. Okay. So we sat down, and again, we asked a question. I asked a question that, and I'll say I've always been curious. My hands are shaking. I think I'm sweating too. But anyway, I always have been curious about life after death and all this other stuff. But I had asked it, I know I did, are you stuck between worlds? And it didn't really do anything. And I'm like, okay, well, bummer. And then I really thought, I thought maybe Jamie had kind of ticked it or something. But I think deep down I knew she hadn't. Then she comes out, blurts out, and our fingers are still on it, She said, what's your name? And it started to move. Really slow and deliberate. And it went to 3 letters that spelled out the name. This is the first time I am saying this out loud in almost 30 years. Spelled out the name Kim. Kim. And I know that it's I guess I feel like I need to say I'm not kidding that this happened. I am not kidding. I feel like people are going to be like, if she's making it up. I'm just not. I'm not capable of that. And I asked the board if Kim was stuck again. I addressed the entity as by name to see if my question would get answered, and it didn't. And then Jamie blurted out something that I just, thinking back, I'm glad she asked, but I did not have the wherewithal to think of it. She said, did someone hurt you? And a little quicker, the cursor went up to yes. And it pulled away a little bit, and then it jerked back to yes very fast. As if to say, like, you got it, ding, 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 yes, spot on. I'm getting emotional, and I'm sorry. But it was getting late, and we're still in this kid's bedroom, and it's getting late, and Jamie was staying at my house that night at my dad's, and my parents were divorced. So I was with my dad this weekend, and she was going to stay with me. And she went out to get the car. I went to my buddy with the Ouija board, and I said, dude, can I take this? And he looked at it, and he was like white. And he said, like, he looked sick. He goes, what are you doing with that? He's like, I threw that out months ago. I just was like, well, I'm taking it. And I left. And Jamie and I got back to my dad's. Now, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking he is kind of a ball buster, this guy. So maybe he was just messing with me. Maybe. So Jamie and I get on the floor. We put the board down. Everything's secure, and we're not going to be moving it or jarring it or anything like that. And we started to ask more questions. Now, it was interesting to see that anything we asked that, because of course we had never used one before. So we didn't even know that we were not doing it right, so to speak, after we learned a little bit about it afterwards. But Jamie, I don't know where she had like this wherewithal to ask these certain questions. And I remember asking her, like, how did you like even have the balls to do that? And she's just like, I wanted to know. The question that she asked that I'm referring to is, she asked, how did you die? And again, slowly and deliberately, a word was spelled out, and it was murder. Well, we both lifted up our hands and looked at each other and said, okay, that may be enough for tonight. Like, this is too much. Okay. We put the board and the cursor up on top of my bureau that was in the room, but we put them next to each other so that they were just like there. Okay. We were wound up, kind of like I am now. And we decided that we'll pick it up tomorrow when we're like more clear-headed. Not that we were drunk, but just had some time with it. So the next morning, very early in the morning, it was like 6 a.m. We'd only gone to bed a couple hours before. And we both just kind of sat up in the bed and we looked over at the bureau, and the cursor thing was actually on yes again. So at that point, I picked it up. I put it under my bed. I flipped the cursor over, kept it away from it. And I said, let's please never talk about this again. And she agreed. And we both just we were, as I said earlier, jarred. We were very terrified at what had just happened. And it just left us, it felt like a heaviness had kind of descended on us, and we couldn't shake it unless we just walked away from it. We enjoyed the rest of the summer and packed our shit up and headed off to college. She and I drove up together, and we were very excited. It was, 18 years old, you're on your own, all this stuff. It's great. So we brought up our first big bundle of stuff, and we walk into the dorm room, and she's putting stuff away in the bureau that they supplied. And I went to the closet to, of course, organize my color-coordinated clothing. And I opened the door, and I must have gasped really loudly. I don't remember, but she came over so fast, and she stared over my shoulder, and all I heard was, I couldn't speak. All I heard was, are you fucking kidding me? And I looked at her like, I don't even know what to do. Because our parents had followed us up, so we had to like pull our shit together. There was a goddamn Ouija board in the closet. It was the only thing in there. The cursor thing wasn't there. Just the Ouija board was there. We checked to make sure it wasn't the same one that we used, because, dear God. But we decided between the two of us, before we went back down to where our parents were and stuff to get more stuff, we decided we were going to burn it. Now, that was probably the stupidest thing we could have ever done. Later, we learned why. If you are ever, I'm not going to say dumb enough to use one, but if you're well versed in Ouija and know how to use it, fine, you already know this. But if you're not, and you go ahead and foolishly start to mess with it and open a portal, because you will. If you believe in it, you will. if you don't say goodbye to the board the proper way, you don't close the portal, and you risk having this entity, this something with you until it's goddamn good and ready to let you go. I cannot stress enough how serious I am about this. And I'm so serious, in fact, that I'm not even going to be going on anymore about this. I'm done. I can't. I'm hoping that my story that I wrote down just to have notes, I barely even looked at it, but I'm not going to be keeping it. I'm going to be getting rid of it. I never want to talk about this again. I feel sick. So I don't wish this on anyone, especially you guys. I don't want you to experience what I went through. Again, like I said, if you're experienced with it and you know what you're getting yourself into, great. I did not. So that is it for today. I hope you are all staying happy and healthy, and stay weird and stay away from Ouija. And please take care. Okay? See you next time.